Hello, you're watching the NWR Virtual Investor Conference. I'm Andrew Gagan from AusBiz. Thanks for joining us. Our next company is Propel, an Australian fintech delivering intelligence finance solutions for improving SME cash flow, combining on one platform lending for operating growth, instant payment receipts, and third-party products. It has multiple additional products under development, including buy now, pay later, invoice finance, and cash flow forecasting tools. The platform leverages data and AI to automate assessment and deliver a purely digital product for SMEs to engage with. Before we hear from the founder and chief executive, let's just remind you that if you'd like to ask questions after the presentation, you can do so by using the Q&A panel on your screen. Let me introduce Michael Davidson, the founder and chief executive of Propel. Michael.
Thanks, Andrew. Hi, everyone. Propel, we're a digital finance platform for small business. We offered a tailored finance solution to help SMEs manage and optimize their finances with products, as Andrew mentioned, including business insights, lending, and payments. We're on a mission to simplify and open up access to finance for small business, and we've built our platform to digitize the process so that we can capture and connect to extensive customer data, allowing us to automate their journey. Everything from the sign up through to assessment, onboarding, and then utilization of the product. We completed an IPO in April, early this year, raising $5 million, and you can find us on the ticker PHL. I'll now play a short video that gives you a feel for our customers' experience with the product, and I'll dive into more about the business. The Propel Platform is an intelligent solution to help businesses manage their finances. A customer can set up an account all online in less than 7 minutes. Within the application, the customer enters basic business information and connects their bank account. Propel's AI then uses this real-time business data to accurately assess and approve a customer in as little as 15 minutes. Once approved, the customer has immediate access to a loan facility and Propel's instant customer payment solution. For example, a customer with a pre-approved credit facility requests to draw down funds so he can buy materials. He is shown his repayment schedule, accepts the terms, and the funds are deposited into his bank account soon after, often the same day. Now with the funds available to commence the work, he could request payment from his customer, who is able to pay him in just a few clicks on their smartphone, using any of the major payment types, including Visa, MasterCard, debit card, and more. Access to funds coupled with fast payments improves his business cash flow, allowing him to keep his business moving forward. Propel supports customers to better manage their finances with quick and seamless lending and payment solutions. Finance that moves you forward. So that gives you a view of the customer's experience, and I'll just dive into a deeper explanation of the platform as a whole. And this graphic here shows you all the components of our platform at a high level. Now, the right-hand side of the graphic is generally well understood. We help SMEs get access to finance products, so payments and lending. What's not as well understood is the left-hand side, and specifically how we're using technology to capture and crunch data and generate new knowledge and insights not previously available. Look, small businesses need advice, guidance, and access to product. But what very few people understand is that the current model for accessing these is broken. I say, look, probably not broken, but definitely severely underperforming for what we should be delivering to these small businesses. Now, our approach is to take those generated learnings from the data we accumulate and crunch and digitize the delivery of that advice and guidance and access, meaning increasingly our customers and small businesses need to look no further than Propel to address their finance needs. And if you follow this approach to its logical conclusion, we will over time expect to replace a number of the services that they currently use, be it their finance advisor, a broker, potentially even the Google search for product in that finance space, because we'll be serving that on platform. But even more importantly to that is we can deliver a service that's far better than any of those can deliver on their own, because we have that holistic view. And look, this is ambitious and technically very challenging. But as you'll see, as I run through the presentation, we're already on the journey and the destination is in sight. So I'll just talk through some key points around the business and the segment first before we dive into details about the customer problem. Since IPO, some of the key points, since IPO, we've delivered greater than a 200% increase in customers on platform, more than 145% increase in lending. Fantastic growth to date in only a couple of months. We've delivered multiple platform and product developments on or ahead of schedule, and we have a really solid pipeline of developments and partnerships for this coming quarter, so Q1 FY22. We operate in a great market. We have a large addressable segment in that market of more than 2.1 million SMEs in Australia. And there's actually more than 55 million SMEs just in this target segment, just in key Western markets in the US, UK and Europe. Look, I make this comment on purpose because the problem we're solving is experienced in a very similar way by small businesses across the globe. And our approach to solving it is directly transferable globally. We have a unique platform and proposition combining both in-house and third-party products for payments and lending, and a well-defined product and customer growth strategy. And that strategy is already showing through the numbers. And if you see the monthly updates, if you've been following us, we're already seeing that it's showing that it's delivering. Now, just moving on to the problems that our customers are facing. So what's pretty well understood and accepted is that running a small business is hard. What's not as well understood is that they face very specific challenges around managing their finances. And they fall into three main categories. Now, first, they struggle to manage their cash flow. In most cases, owners actually don't understand the relationship between cash flow and profit and make mistakes around their finances for that reason. Secondly, they have limited finance knowledge and experience. These small businesses, they're fantastic at what they do, but rarely does that knowledge and experience extend to finance. And then thirdly, lastly, they have difficulty accessing the products and services that they do need. Banks have traditionally seen or deemed this segment as hard to understand and therefore high risk. And it's what has led to it being chronically underserved. Now, there are a range, and you'll see on the right-hand side of this slide here, there are a range of tools that a small business should be using to manage their finances. But because generally these products come from a range of providers that solve a single purpose, these time-poor owners need to search for, sign up, implement and maintain all of the solutions. And it's just not practical. And in most cases, they aren't using them. This is actually the gap we identified when we were investigating Propel, and it's why we started the business. So going into how we solve the problem, and I'll talk about it in two ways. Firstly, how we're solving it today, and then how we will solve it in the future. So today we're delivering on that core proposition, offering our customers insights, lending and payments. Look, they get a view into their business's finance, the business's health through the Business Insights tool. They can access funds for operating and growth with our own internal proprietary line of credit. And they can take payments with card from their customers. And BNPL, we launched Zip recently on the platform to improve their cash flow and their customers' experience. In the future, whilst that core proposition remains the same in that simplicity of the offering and access, the offerings on the platform will expand significantly. Business insights and guidance is absolutely core to what we'll be doing moving forward and how we help those businesses understand what to use. And we'll continue to develop that capability and leverage it across the platform and the products. Both the payments and the lending products are going to be bolstered significantly with additions. On the lending side, we'll be doing both internal and third-party lending products with longer terms and larger facilities, and also some of the alternate lending types. And on the payment side, we're expanding really in two ways, both the types of payments that they can accept, but also the ways that they can accept it. So for example, types of payments they can accept, expanding it out to more buy now, pay laters, but also more scheme payments. And equally then how they can accept it. So being able to take customer present payments with terminals and expanding the online offering. Now, an important point, and a question before I jump onto that, we're also adding a Propel branded account and card so that our customers can increasingly live their financial life on platform and not need products external. Now, an important point, and one that I'm often asked, is do we have to build all of these products ourselves? And who is a competitor? And short answer is no, we don't. As I talked about earlier, our mission is really to simplify and open up access to finance products and finance for small business. There are a lot of great products out there on market that already solve singular problems really well. The intention is, and how we move forward, is we connect those products to the platform, but continue to provide that simple and seamless access for the small business. And Zip is an example there. They have a great payments acceptance product, and that's something that we've plugged into the platform and allow our customers to access that and use it with their customers. But even more, we'll continue to, with that seamless access, we continue to advise and guide our customers on which of the products on the platform they should be using and when. Now, moving from how we go from today to the future, I'll just talk through some of the timings around when we expect these to land. Now, phase one has really been from IPO to now, or from really from when we implemented Propel to now. We've seen significant developments since IPOing in April. We launched the Business Insights Beta, the first version. That's actually on to version 3 now, so there's significant development there. We also launched a number of payments products around invoice payments and Zip. The next phase is a really critical and probably exciting phase for us, and it's the coming 12 months, so really FY22. We're bringing advanced versions of insights and guidance, so adding in more of that automated, digitized advice and guidance around the products they should be using. We'll bring a number of developments to payments and lending, as I mentioned. Just around the timings, we expect that in the very near term, within the next within quarter, we'll be bringing a 12-month line of credit that will also provide larger facilities. It's something our customers are screaming out for already. On the payment side, as I mentioned, we're expanding the payment types, but also the ways they can accept. And we're expecting to have customer present payments in quarter as well. Also expect the accountant card will land, the Propel branded accountant card will land in year, but actually ideally in calendar year. So we're hoping to get that away before December. Now, phase 3 is a longer term, so the 1 to 2 year horizon. And it'll see, and you'll hear this a lot from me, but essentially further developments in business insights. But actually at that point, we're expecting it has developed to a point where we'll be offering a premium version of insights and guidance that we will charge a subscription for. There'll be ongoing expansion of the platform connected products, because there is always expansion and new products coming to market that really small businesses should be using. And we also expect at that point that we'll be looking to that international expansion. And I mentioned before, Australia is a great market for landing the product and testing it and making sure that it's viable. And we're seeing that already. Internationally, it's just a significantly larger size, so worth pursuing at that point. Now, that's how we actually see the timing, but equally important to view how we actually develop the platform and product. And we're always equally focused on both developing the customer numbers and the ecosystem. And this graphic here just gives you a view or an insight into how we view the development of the business and how each stage supports the next. So really, we start with attracting new customers to the platform. You always want to start with customers first. But with every customer we add to the platform, we accumulate incrementally more proprietary data. Now, that gives us more insights into how customers are using it and the products they should use, which allows us to enhance the platform with new product. That in turn generates more revenues overall, but actually more revenues per customer. And additionally also leads to generally a lower cost to acquire those customers. And we've seen that trending down over time as we've developed the marketing, but also developed the number of customers on platform. All of that leads to a larger ecosystem, which then turns the wheel again. And we are focused on internally turns of this wheel, so essentially iterations, but essentially spinning it faster and faster each time so we can acquire more customers, add more data, add product, and around we go again. Now, from there, it's important to understand our revenue model. Currently, we actually have a really straightforward and simple to understand revenue model. We generate income on transactions from payments and interest margin on lending. Now, we've had those two clear streams and they will remain moving forward, but essentially what we will start to see in the first half of FY22, it's still payments and lending, but as we add in additional sub-streams under those categories. So for example, after adding Zip to our payments product, we're now generating interest of transaction margin on both card payments and Zip payments. And the example in lending is as we add the 12-month line of credit, we'll be generating interest margin on the 6-month line of credit and the 12-month line of credit. Now, year 3 is when we start, phase 3, year 1 to 2, is when we start to introduce more streams. And that's where I mentioned the SaaS subscription for the platform tools like Business Insights. Now, as I mentioned to date, we have seen really significant growth on platform since IPO. We're excited about it and I've updated the market a number of times in the monthly updates. But again, it's that 200% growth in customers since IPO. Now, the strategy we have in place, we're seeing similar numbers moving forward. So we're actually expecting that the coming quarters are going to deliver a similar level of growth, both in customers, but then also in the amount of lending on platform leading to revenue. Now, alongside that, it's also really important to see the increases in the quality of the customer, or the steady improvement in the quality of that average customer over time. And we're seeing both increases in the size of loans, but also the amount of facility and transaction volumes for payments. Now, moving on, acquiring customers, I mentioned, is really important, but equally as important to that is how we acquire those customers. We've taken a digital first product marketing strategy. It's very focused on making sure that we get in front of our ideal customers. That leads to improvements in a number of areas. It leads to improvements into the quality of those customers that you've seen on the previous slide, but also in a reduction of the cost to acquire like-for-like customers, ensuring that you're in front of only those that really suit the product. In addition to that outbound activity, we have an equal focus on developing the increasing pool of existing loyal customers on platform, with pretty extensive nurture campaigns, but also referral campaigns. And lastly, and I don't have it on here, but the brand is undergoing a refresh right now, which will progressively be launched over the coming couple of months. This refresh will mean that we can speak more clearly to the Propel of today. Our brand currently was developed late 2020, and we've come a long way since then. So we're keen to incorporate that. So you'll start to see that washing through our website, apps, and customer dashboards in the coming 2 months. So look, the Propel proposition summed up, I think the really key points here are, it's a unique product and proposition, and it's in a chronically underserved market, and that is covered regularly in the press. There's demonstrated growth in those key metrics, and the really important ones, and that growth is on track to continue. And we also have that solid pipeline of developments and partnerships to support and accelerate growth. And we hope to be announcing a few in the coming month that are quite exciting. We're in a rapidly growing sector, and it's undergoing a generational shift away from the traditional institutions, and fintechs are really accelerating. The sector in general is also seeing a lot of focus, whether that's fundraising or acquisitions for that reason. And I believe, if you look at our share price and what we've delivered today, that we are well positioned comparative to our peers for an increase in share price and valuation over time. Thanks for your time. I'll hand back to Andrew and the team for Q&A.
Michael, thanks very much for the presentation. All right, well, let's get to some of those questions. And perhaps unsurprisingly, that partnership with Zip has caught people's attention. Yeah. First off, is that service now live? Has there been much uptake?
Yeah, it's still in the early days. So we're in the beta. So whenever we launch a product, we launch it in a very considered way. So we're at the early stages, but absolutely the demand and the requests we've had from our customers is significant. So I expect to see those volumes. We'll be reporting volumes that are ramping rapidly in the coming couple of months.
All right. And just as far as a customer is concerned, how is the experience different in using Zip via the Propel platform versus directly with the BNPL service?
Well, I mean, it essentially is directly with Zip. So Zip is on our platform, very similar to a card payment. And what we've tried to do for our customers is make the experience as simple as possible for their customers. So essentially, a small business is really concerned with just getting money into their bank account. So what we've done is put both the card payment and the Zip services together in that payment platform, so that a customer really just chooses how they want to pay. So from that point of view, it's similar to a card payment and very simple, very, very simple.
Okay. And what goals does the business have when it comes to customer numbers?
We stated initially that we were hoping to get to we're hoping to add 3,000 customers to the platform in 2 years. That was what we were talking pre-IPO. We've added on platform just since IPO, we're actually over 800 today. So we expect to get to 1,000 in almost 3 to 4 months since IPO. So I would say my expectations now are significantly north of that. We're not committing to a number, but yeah, the expectation is it's grown quite a bit from adding 3,000 in 2 years to a lot more.
All right. Someone points out there is obviously quite a deal of M&A activity in the fintech sector. What's your view? Perhaps the question being, what opportunity do you see there?
Yeah, we see it purely from the point. So I think the activity is great, and it means that there's recognition that fintechs are delivering product that traditional providers seemingly aren't capable of delivering and innovating. So I say from that point of view, it's very positive. At this point, we're very focused on developing our own business and our own product. So we're not pursuing any acquisitions on that side. But I imagine that in the near term, there are some significant events that we may be going back to market to accelerate growth with.
And Michael, the top of your presentation there, you pointed out just the size of the SME market globally.
Yeah.
What opportunities are you seeing there from the Propel business? I mean, do you have plans perhaps to launch beyond Australia?
Yeah, we do. So the strategy has been to date that we would launch and essentially mature the product here first and build out the infrastructure behind it, because there's quite a bit technically that goes in. But it's very clear that, you know, just those key Western markets, when we look at the UK and the US, there are so many more customers in our segment. And in many cases, I think I mentioned, the problems that the SMEs in those markets are experiencing are identical to what we have in Australia. And the solution is identically transferable. So we are looking in the near term, you know, I'd say the near term, in probably 2022, to moving into some of those markets with the product.
All right.
I mean, the opportunity is huge. I mean, if you actually take SMEs globally in this segment, it's circa 400 million. So the Western markets are attractive, but actually globally, even Southeast Asia, similar problems are experienced. So international expansion is inevitable.
So how do you look at your growth plans just in terms of funding then?
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So at this point, we're not seeking any additional funding, but I would expect that may be an event that if we were to take this internationally, it's probably a point or a catalyst to seek more funding.
All right. And someone asking just what can be expected as far as news flow over the rest of this year. I guess you've actually pointed out in the slide session there some of your targets.
Yeah, I think we focus news flow, and I expect it to be around those two key levers, which is the developing the number of customers on platform, because that is, you know, critical lever number one. And the second is the development of the platform and the product that sits on the platform, because that delivers on the second lever, which is revenue we derive from a customer. So I would expect to see news flow. We're still committing to monthly updates at this point on customer numbers and products. So they'll see regular updates around that. But more specifically, there'll be some news flow around some partnerships and product developments in the coming 4 to 6 weeks.
Michael, thanks very much for the presentation, and thanks for joining us from Propel.
Thanks, Andrew.